our fellowship. We have so many people here live. I'm so excited about this talk today. And welcome virtual people as well. We are talking today about how to get your clients to pay you triple your rate. Now, how many here are entrepreneurs? Okay, just about everybody. And the struggle is real, isn't it? We are constantly struggling with how to get clients, how to keep them, and how to get them to actually pay us. There are times for that, right? What if someone could show you how to be able to have people tell you, actually, you deserve 3 times what I'm paying you?
Yeah.
Would you want to listen?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, awesome. Well, that's what we're going to learn today. Now, as far as that struggle, think about all those things that keep you from being the person that deserves that pay, to be paid triple the time. I mean, is it your confidence? What is it in your life, in your business, that keeps you from actually getting paid that triple rate? Is there anyone here who thinks that they deserve it? Do you deserve 3 times what you're being paid right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear a couple, but I mean, goodness. That goes to show something right there. Well, I'm so excited because we're going to have someone who has been doing this for a very long time show us exactly how to do that. Someone who started at a time that, was only getting so much, but now, seriously, you can't hardly get this guy. But you're going to have him right now before your very eyes, virtually and live. I'm going to bring up our very own soul igniter, Kary Oberbrunner.
Well, it's great to be with you guys. Good to see you, Chris. Awesome. I remember you too. Good to see you. Fantastic. Hey, it's great to be here today. And yeah, we were talking about how to get clients, the type of clients that insist on paying triple your rates. Wouldn't that be cool if you didn't even have to ask as well? Because let's face it, some of us are like nervous to say, here's my rate, but you got to pay triple my rate. Wouldn't that be cool if they paid it automatically? Would that be cool? Yes. Well, you're going to meet a guy who this literally happened to. His name's Jim. All right. So here's a little bit to intro our topic today. What if you knew how to flip the formula? What if people fought to be your client? Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, so many times in business, let's face it, whenever you go to a retail store at the mall, isn't that an experience where you're like, you gotta wash your hands at the end, right? Because you're just like, I'm just looking, and they keep hounding you and hounding you. Or if someone's ever been paid by commission, not everybody, but a lot of times people just will not let up. Is this true? You guys can relate? Okay, so how come certain brands and businesses have actually flipped the formula? There's a restaurant in New York that they do 0 advertising, and you basically pick up a phone near one of those old pay phones, you know what I'm talking about? And you dial in a code, and then this secret wall opens, and that's the only way to get inside. And the line is out the door, and they do 0 advertising. So how come certain people kind of have this handle and many of us don't? Well, we're going to talk about that today. Not everything you've been taught about sales and marketing nearly everything is wrong. Is this true?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We call this, let me give you an example. Today, we call this interruption marketing. And I know you know what I'm talking about. The classic example is you're with your loved one, friend, family, whoever. You're on your way to a restaurant, and somebody stops you in the middle of the sidewalk and says, hey, sir, can I ask you a few questions? I'm taking a poll today. How do you feel, Chris, when that happens?
I don't like it.
You don't like it, right? You feel annoyed. You feel like, why are you bothering me? You've basically given me no value. You're taking. This is why in the sales transaction, you feel those emotions, because people are taking before giving. True? But there's also another law, which is the law of reciprocity, which means if you give people so much value, you actually have the right to ask for the invitation, the next step. How many of you are part of Author Academy Elite? Raise your hand. Okay, fantastic. How many of you have done any of our programs? Raise your hand. Okay, I'm going to teach you guys a system today. A system where people actually ask to be your client. Those of you who are clients, am I making this up, or have you seen this happen for the last 5 years? True? Awesome. All right. Just look around. Most entrepreneurs settle on outdated tactics and subpar strategies. All right? I just went to New York and spoke over the weekend. Today, you guys have seen it. Those of you who are part of the tribe. Guess who just joined our Author Academy Elite program, right? Our highest end program. Does anyone see that this morning? Amy and Teresa. How did that happen? Did I stand on stage and at the end say, okay, you all have credit card forms, are you ready? Grab your pen, all right? And there's a timer, you know, David, cue the timer, and okay, no, none of that stuff. But there's a system and a strategy, and that's why I want to teach you this today. How many of you say, I have a good message? Raise your hand. Come on. I'm looking. You have a great message. All right. Look, unless you believe that you have a great message, you're going to struggle with this. If you kind of think, well, you know, my program isn't that good, or these types of things, you're going to struggle. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. We got room here, room there. No worries. You're fine. Our digital age demands doing business differently. Folks, do you realize that if people 100 years ago were alive today, they would be salivating for the type of access that you have globally? Does this make sense? I mean, we're talking 100 years ago. Was there airplanes? I don't know. I don't think so, right? Cars were just coming on the scene? I don't know, right? I mean, they would be salivating to say, what do you mean? I can press a button and be in New Zealand and be talking with someone, a client? You guys have all the availability that you need. In fact, a gentleman, one of my mentors, said that he spent $5 million in technology just 10 years ago to get what we have today for free. Facebook Live. Think about this, folks. Do you guys realize what we're doing? If we would have tried to do this 10 years ago, David and I probably would have spent $50,000 today. And now it's on your phone. So let's remove all the doubt. I'm going to mix it up today, and hopefully you're going to have a blast. And I will share right up front at the end. If you like what I'm sharing, I will give you an invitation. It's not a hard sell, but I will say, if you like what you hear, here's another step if you want more. I believe that that actually is your right. And it's actually, as a content creator, it's something that you need to do. You need to do that. For you to have a life-changing message and say, well, sorry, we're done today. Go have a good life. Is that helpful? No, not at all. So I'm going to teach you about discovering the secret formula for the best brands that they use daily as part of their playbook. And remember, ignorance is only one step before obsolete. Joel, you're a tweet man. Please get that one. Ignorance is only one step before obsolete. If you guys don't know this, you're just one step away from being obsolete. But today you're here, you showed up, filled up. My name's Kary. I'm excited to be here. And I am the least likely person qualified to be teaching this as far as my academic background goes. Right? Okay? Does anyone relate with me? You're like, dude, if you knew where I was from, I should not be in business, right? I mean, I was a person who grew up in a nonprofit home. My mom and dad worked at the Salvation Army. Okay, my mom was a social worker. She still is today a director of a Christian adoption agency. My dad was a full-time pastor. I thought business people were bad. I'll just be honest. They didn't teach me that, but I thought, like, business? What are you talking about? I mean, let's save lives, right? Business, why do we need business? And so I kind of grew up thinking that business people were cool, but I could never be one. And they kind of had their act together, and they were operating by a different playbook. Only to realize today, get this is a funny story. I was in New York sitting at a meal, and I look around and there's 7 of us, and we're all business people, and 6 were former pastors. Isn't that funny? And I thought, you know, this is interesting. This is kind of a new breed going on here. But listen, if you take some of the things I teach today, write this down. Some of you, this is old stuff. But selling is what? Serving, and marketing is what? Storytelling. If you can serve and tell stories, you are going to be a brilliant business person and a brilliant marketer. Because so few people know that tactic. They don't know how to do that. So here's what I'm going to teach you today. The 3 factors that shape all pricing strategies. Would that be cool?
Yes.
Okay? Because trust me, why is a certain pen $500 and a certain pen is 5 cents? True? Is this true?
Yes.
Okay, why is a certain car $1 and a certain car $1 million? It all has to do with this. And I'm going to teach you that maybe you're attracting poor clients because you don't understand a few principles. And once you do, everything's going to change. Number 2, the number one thing you can control to increase your rates. Wouldn't that be cool? So many people I meet, you can hear it when you sit next to them on an airplane or in the subway. They're talking about, well, you know what? Things were great until the government passed that law. Or things were great until I had that client cancel on me. In other words, they're operating life from a victim standpoint that says the world happened to me. And anytime you hear a business talking that way, you should run. Because they don't believe that they have power to create change. They believe that change is done to them. Okay? You woke up today, Laura, you woke up today. By the way, I saw your friend the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
But you woke up today saying either I happen to the world or what? The world happens to me. And trust me, it operates everything. It changes everything. Number 3, how to attract low maintenance and high profit clients. Would that be cool? Would that be cool?
Yes.
All right. Let's rock and roll. Just so you think, because I know some of you are sitting here. By the way, online, welcome very much. I'd love to hear where you're from. Go ahead and type in your location. And Erica, let's give Erica a hand. She's managing our virtual audience today, so thank you for doing that. Feel free to ask questions, restate, all that stuff. I know some of you are sitting here saying, what is that guy talking about? He's full of junk. All right, we'll say junk. He's full of junk. There's no way what he's telling is true. I want proof. Let's be honest. There's some of you saying, I want proof. Come on. Come on.
Sure.
All right. Here's Jim. Jim Akers. One of my favorite things Kary says, so he's a client. He's an author. Is show up, filled up. I just received a note along with a check from a coaching client. He wrote, I truly didn't feel that you charged me enough. I got so much value out of our session. The enclosed check is for what I thought was fair. Fair nearly tripled my fee. Showing up with our best and a heart to serve is always a good thing. Okay? You guys believe it now? All right, I didn't ask Jim to post this. Jim posted this. He's listened to the teaching. He's applied the principles. And he shows up filled up. And one of his clients said, you created so much value that here's triple your rate. Nearly triple your rate. Cool? So you ready? You believe it now?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. This is called the law of compensation. The law of compensation. This is how all pricing strategy is built. Okay? And where is my credentials? My results. All right? So I've never taken, I don't even know how I graduated with a doctorate. I've never taken a business class. I've never taken a marketing class. I've never taken economics. I study every single day all 3 of these things. Okay? So my results are my credentials. Some of you are offended. You're like, well, gee, I did an MBA. Okay, let's look at your results and our results, right? Not in a bad way, but I'm just saying, book knowledge does not create results. True? All right, so here we go. Law of compensation. Number 1, it is based upon need. If someone tries to sell you something that you don't need, are you interested? No. Most of the time, no. You're like, I don't need this. Well, here, it's a really good deal. I mean, someone could literally drive up with something that another person would pay $1 million for, and I'm like, dude, it's a baseball card, or it's a whatever, it's a quilt. I don't care. You know, even jewelry. You know, for me, hey, your jewelry would not make this face look better, okay? Right? Let's be honest. So I don't care about jewelry that much. And someone might be like, it's worth $1 million and it only costs $250,000. I'm like, keep it. I don't care. Now, some of you are eBay people and you're like, dude, give me the jewelry, right? All right. Number 2, ability. This is your ability to meet that person's need. So someone might have a very great need, like, hey, you know, I tore my labrum, I need surgery. I'll pay anything. And you might say, well, gee, I'll sew it up, and you have zero ability, right? That's not cool, right? All right, number 3, irreplaceability. Irreplaceability. Folks, this is going to get good. You ready? I'm excited. I'm going to break down each one of these things. All right, let me give you an example. Need. We're going to talk about need first of all. Has anyone ever been watching a nice game with their son, daughter, friend, whatever, and you're at a show, and no beverages allowed, no food allowed, and you go up to the concession stand, and they're charging $25 for a slice of pizza, okay? Has this ever happened to you? And you're like, dude, it cost $1, right, to make. Has anyone felt really good handing over the $25? Like, oh yeah, you know? We were in Chicago a few weeks ago, and again, you know, you're in the whatever. You're at a museum, and there's museum food, and you can't bring any in, and it's tough for me to spend money like when I'm paying, you know, $19.99 for a chicken nugget, right? Isn't that frustrating? You don't feel good. You feel ticked. And if you're in that environment for like 3 days, you're like, you know? So, but this is true, right? So here's the Mountain Dew for, you know, $59.99, right? Right? But now, check it out. You're angry unless you're in a desert and you're dying of thirst, and now someone has a nice glass of water. Would you pay $100 for a bottle of water if you're in the desert dying of water and there's nothing else around? That $100 doesn't really do well with your corpse, right? There's his corpse. He died a rich man, right? So this is my point. This makes absolute sense if you have a need. Some of you have been ineffective, and I'm not speaking to people in the room, they're super intelligent people, but so are you online as well. But here's the point. Let's be honest. Some people have created their thing, and then they've gone online and said, hey, I have this thing, it's for sale, and then no one bought your online course, your conference, or these types of things, and then you think it's you, right? Let's be honest. You think, well, maybe I'm the problem. I mean, maybe the product's the problem. You know what I think is the problem? Your audience doesn't know their need yet. Ouch. If you have not been able to convert online, maybe, just maybe, the biggest reason is because you have not raised the awareness of their need. True? Let's make this real practical. Is this light bulbs for anybody? Right? Is this light bulbs? Well, I see a light bulb blowing up over here, right? So, absolutely. When David and I first started, you know, we might have thought, I don't know, we might have thought, well, gee, you know, I put in a tweet that our conference is coming up. No one's bought. What's the problem? You know? And you start getting all self-conscious in this type of thing. It's probably because people don't know the need yet, right? Here's another example. Nice cabin, right? Beautiful cabin. What happens if there's no heat in the cabin? Is that okay in that type of situation? What do you think? No heat in the cabin? Are you okay?
Yep.
You're okay, right? I'll just wear, you know, fuzzy slippers. I have fuzzy slippers, by the way. I wear them in the summer. It's true. I wear them all the time. My feet are always cold. Too much information. All right. Let's keep going. Now your heat goes out. Now your heat goes out. Look at that place. That place looks like Milwaukee, where I'm from. You do not want to be in Milwaukee in the middle of winter without heat, right? No joke, true story. A few years ago in Columbus, in winter, the power went out. Power went out for like 3 days. Remember this? Does anyone remember this? A bunch of years ago? Guess what I'm doing? All right? All the girls, so my wife and my 2 daughters, they got to go upstairs and put on like 30 blankets. My son and I, it was a cool thing, it's a memory, but we laid in front of the fire and all night, like, stoked it with wood, all right, for like 3 days. And we went through our whole pile. Now, let's say your furnace goes out here. Are you going to pay that much to get it fixed?
Oh.
Let's say your furnace goes out here. Suddenly, are you going to pay a lot? Your need went up, so suddenly you're willing to pay more. True? Okay, let's go to the last example here. These are probably most of your clients. And if you're on a webinar talking to them, or you're on a conference call, or you're talking to them, in line at Kroger's or wherever, and you're talking about your program and this type of thing, do they have that big of a need? You're like, hey, do you want to make your life better? As they have their iPhone and MacBook and their headphones. Hey, do you want to make your life better? What do you think most people are going to say? No, I'm good. And then play Candy Crush or whatever it's called, right? No, I'm good. Well, here's what you need to do. Okay, this is a graphic picture on purpose, but it's someone like literally, I don't know where I found this, unsplash.com, but it's someone who's like literally destitute. They are very aware of their need. They have nothing. They're very vulnerable. That's the type of tone you need to create on your try before you buy medium, your blog, your podcast, your conversation, right? You need to go at their need. And many times, it's not talking, it's listening. We're not comfortable with silence many times. Many times it's questions. The best type of book back cover, it's called back cover sales copy. I tell all my authors to start with a question. That type of question on a sales page or a podcast is fantastic. What does a question do? Anybody? What does a question do?
Makes you go internal.
Makes you go internal. Are you satisfied with the results you're getting? I don't like that. Give me Netflix, right? Please. That's how most people are. But you need to go after that. Now we're going to talk about ability. And I'm going to get real vulnerable with you guys on purpose, because I want you to realize, this isn't just, hey, success oozed from us and we were lucky, okay? Because I don't believe in luck and chance. I believe that in hard work. And I believe that you make your luck and chance. Because even if you had luck and chance, you could be unaware, right? Isn't this true? Even if you were lucky to sit by someone who's a great influencer at a restaurant, you might not be aware, or you might not know what to say. So luck and chance are very overrated. But I'm going to give you guys the quick story, and then David's going to actually come up, and David's going to share a little bit about his story as well. Because David and I, 6 years ago, are not the same people today. True? I had a little bit more hair, but there were other things too, right? So here's me years ago. Years ago, smile, safe job, pastor, wife, kids, salary, benefits, the whole deal. Very safe, very safe. And 80% alive, and what does 80% alive mean? 20% dead. And I'm going to share with you a journey of quotes. And I just, my sister-in-law, Emily, recently took these photos, and I really want you to focus on the quotes more than anything, because here's kind of the journey I took, and see if you can relate, okay? David, come on up here. Let's give David a hand. All right. I'm going to tell the Panera story. Some of you have never heard the Panera story, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit and share my story, and then David's going to talk a little bit and share his story. But David, how much did I pay you when you first started working with me?
Chicken wings? Is that
there you go. Okay?
I didn't get paid.
There you go. So David made chicken wings, okay? That's good. Isn't that good? That's good. I was generous. Here's the point. I didn't have money, right? I didn't have money. I had a dream. And folks, listen, if you have a dream and if you have passion, you will attract other people to you, okay? So David did not say, well, Kary, how much are you going to pay me and I might come alongside you, right? How did we meet?
Well, you were one of my pastors at the church I was attending.
Okay.
And you being the ever-friendly, reaching out to people person, saw us new to the church and came out and said, hey, you want to join my Friday morning men's group?
Okay, so listen, folks. Some of you have honestly said in the past, how do I find a good business partner? Let's be honest, right? David's leading a global 7-figure business now. But look, did I look at him and say, how can I benefit from this guy? How can he serve me? Did I do that? No, zero. So many times we walk into the room with an agenda. and we hear, oh, that person's good at tech. Ooh, I'm gonna go be friends with that person so I can get. So David was in that men's group, and for how long? I mean, was it a week? A year or two? There you go. All right, that's pretty long. So he's in it for a year or two. And folks, there's so many things I want to tease out of this thing, and he's going to share his story, and I'm going to share mine. But here's the point. There came an opportunity for me. Pete, can you grab me a Your Secret Name book back there? So I had written this book, and I had said, it's not coming out for 12 months, because when you work with a traditional publisher, that's how it works. So I wrote this book, but it was with the publisher, and we started to go through this book. And then finally, when it came out, I asked the whole men's group, hey guys, I got an invitation to go to Dayton to speak to some pastors. Who wants to go with me? Who went with me? You. What? Anybody else?
Nope.
No. All right. All right. That's how I found my business partner, right? But look, seriously, right? I mean, he said yes. In fact, I think your wife said.
She was the one that pushed me to go. I was the one who said, I really think that maybe I should go with Kary on this trip, but I don't know.
Okay.
If I should do it. And she looked at me and said, go. Because I've been kind of
tell people what you're doing.
I was waffling. I was sitting there going, we were going through this message. It had changed me from the inside out huge. I mean, the impact that it had on me was the exact right message at the exact right point in my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there going with, should I do this or not? Because, at the time I was a stay-at-home dad, and I was trying to figure out, can I make this work? Because if I'm gone and some of the kids get sick, or all of a sudden I'm in Dayton and we're in trouble because something happened and nobody's here. Yeah. And she's going to be gone all day, and I'm like going, I don't know. And she just looked at me because she knew I was at a place where I needed to take that next step. I needed to do something, and she just was like, go.
You came, and I spoke, and everyone loved it, right? Everyone gave me a standing ovation, right?
No.
So what happened?
They didn't like it at all.
Okay. This is true, right? You guys want honesty, right? So this is the first public audience I spoke this message to. And I mean, I felt like I was in the crosshairs. I felt like nobody was understanding it. It's all right? Does this make sense? I mean, you've invested your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. It's your story. You're taking it personal. So I got in the car, and I think my words were, well, I guess that's done. Right? I mean, the book hadn't even come out fully. And what'd you say?
No way. Because it was like dropping a piece of lead in the room. It would just thud. They all just stared at you like they didn't get it at all. And I'm sitting back there baffled to the end of my wits. Just, I couldn't get, how can you be this dense? Is what I'm thinking. How can you not get this? You're pastors. You should be able to understand things spiritually. But it was just dead.
Yeah.
And I knew you were discouraged, and I got in the car, and I knew what this message meant to me, and I knew how much it changed my heart and the things it did for me. And I'm like, I don't know where we go from here, but there's no way you're quitting.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kick your rear end if I have to.
Right.
But we're going to keep pushing forward, and I don't know where we'll end up with, but we're going to take another step.
Okay. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, well, David runs the whole, tech, online business aspect of Redeem the Day today. So you're probably thinking David has a big background in that area. Tell people what you couldn't do when you first started even.
Well, I couldn't do anything hardly online. Kary and I kind of continued to grow in our relationship, and he really started to trust me because I took that Your Secret Name message deep. I even joked one time that I started teaching it back to you.
Sure.
Because I just dove into the Bible, I dove into this, and I was sharing things that you hadn't even picked up on because it meant that much to me.
Sure.
And so I was going back, and he said, you know what? I want you to guest blog on my blog. So he turns over this password and username to his blog at the time, and I was terrified. I didn't have the slightest clue how to do this. I had absolutely no skill, no understanding, and I was terrified that I was going to take the whole site down. That I'm going to hit save, and then we're going to go back and look at the page, and everything's just going to be deleted.
Yeah.
That's where I was, and so you had to It's okay, it's okay, you can do it.
And Rick Copeland and others, I mean, you know David's talents now. He's running crazy, you know, click funnels and lead pages and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But that's where he was back then. And again, what drew us together? I think it was a common vision and a common passion, right? And so, David, I'm going to share a little of my story, but before I do, why don't you share just how you went from stay-at-home dad, I'm not saying this, these weren't your words, but scared to go out of your house, at least for that day, because the house might fall apart, to now running a global business. How did you give people just a couple quick tips? What'd you do?
Point number one is you gotta have hope, and you gotta keep that out there in front of you at all times. So you can either focus on what you want and what you hope to get to, or you can be focused on what you're afraid of. If you're gonna be focused on what you're afraid of, you're never gonna step out. And number two, you gotta invest in yourself big time. When you're starting out, I get it. You know, I read book after book after book because that was an economical way to grow myself big time. So I was still to this day have stacks. You know, you've seen my house. I have to like every once in a while purge because there's no more space to even store anything. But I have books like crazy. I'm always reading and learning. I take classes and courses and trainings, and now, you know, I have a coach that I work with that I spend a lot of money on every year that he guides me through and keeps growing me. The difference is that I went on a deep journey to grow me, to get past my own hurdles, to get past my own challenges. And what you end up realizing is that deep inside of you, there's this immense reservoir of ability. You have abilities and talents that are sitting there inside of you, but you're the one who's kind of standing in the way of letting that happen. And you got to get over it. You got to get yourself past it. And some of those abilities need to be developed. You know, let's be honest, some of them need training. They need skill development. Well, there's ways to do that. But you got to invest. You got to go in, and you got to take courses. You got to take books and trainings and just devour them.
All right, let's give David a hand. Yeah. Awesome. And today I trust David, you know, with my life. I mean, he's got my credit card, he's got my Social Security, he's got everything. And he kept making himself valuable. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys a string of little one-liners, but they're one-liners on purpose. I'm going to unpack them quickly. We'll save time for Q&A too. But remember, we're only talking about need first. Remember, raise the people's need, right? Through webinars, through blog posts, through articles, through conversations. Raise people's awareness so that they're thinking, oh my gosh, you know what? I realize now that I'm not doing X, Y, Z, ABC. Susan, I'm going to ask you to come up. This is unplanned. Come on up. Come on. Oh, yeah. All right. All right. Now, I was actually Susan's pastor too, right, as well. And Susan, I bring you up just merely because I looked at you and I'm like, you know, I don't even recognize her from years ago. Tell people, again, because you're in health coaching now. What are you? A health coach.
Yep. You're
a health coach. And when I met you, you tell me what you looked like and what was going on in your head.
Well, 3 years ago, I weighed over 300 pounds. And so it was a whole, and then all my life I've struggled with my weight. So I never ever thought I could do anything helping others. And so a friend shared with me a program, and it changed my life. So now, and in January, I read Kary's book last summer, and all the pack stuff, but David a couple of years ago, and I quit my job in January, and I'm doing this full time, and so the whole life has changed.
That's fantastic. And you were just, I saw this banquet you were speaking at or something. What was that recently?
Yeah, we had a national conference in Dallas for our company, and they asked me to share my story from one of the stages.
Fantastic.
So,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Let's give her a hand. Awesome. I mean, that's exciting. And again, maybe I didn't have the weight change dramatically, but let me tell you guys, I was the guy who made it through life by carving the F word on my body. I mean, that's the truth. I was a cutter. I was a self-injured. I was not okay with not being perfect and felt like it was my job to exercise anger, that internal anger at myself for not being perfect. So, I mean, again, Susan, the visible results, but your results are just as dramatic. I mean, Joel, you're a guy I can't even recognize anymore, right? I mean, everybody in this room who's been coming that I've seen their change. Laura, just published your book recently, right? I mean, it's fantastic, the changes that I see in people. Mike, remember that conversation? You used to not be able to charge people $1 for your services. And today you just walked in and told me you charged the guy so much, he's probably going to reject you, And again, how does that happen, right? Because he's confident now and says, I can create this value. You don't want it? Okay, no problem. But I'm not going to lower my fees simply because I'm going to get you a deal. Why? Because if you don't charge people enough, then what? What about them? They don't value it as much, right? All right, here's a few quotes. I'm just going to give you these quick. I'm going to explain them. Back when I first started, I was numbing my pain. I exchanged a knife, right, for, you know what? Watching other people. I mean, have you ever been in this situation where the way you kind of numb your pain is to like follow everybody else and be like, well, gee, they're crushing it and I'm nobody, and and I started following these people in my mind like, whoa, they're really successful. And that was a way that I kind of like lived out my vision of, well, gee, maybe I could be like them. Never realizing God wanted to do something unique in me, just like each one of you. So when I was numbing my pain, I was numbing my potential. All right? And by the way, these are all, again, Emily got in my face and was like, you got to stop quoting other people. You got to start using your own quotes with your own pictures. I'm like, all right, I'm old enough that I probably have a few quotes. So here's another one. While I was busy comparing, somebody else was busy creating. Ouch. Isn't that true? Well, while other people, that was me. I could tell you names of people that I thought were like, whoa, they're so successful. I want to be like them. And my wife would kind of like have a joke. All right, my wife was like, well, who's the next person that you're following, right? Because it was like, well, I could never be that. God could never give me a message. I mean, he only uses those people. So again, when you're in somebody else's head, you're not in your own life, right? When you're in somebody else's head, you're not in your own life. Here's another one. Shiny objects are simply dressed up distractions. Oh, wow. Shiny objects. Ooh, I'll do that. I'll go there. Ooh, look at that. Why? Because I didn't have to deal with the internal. So I'm just giving you guys some practical lessons about how I raised my ability. Remember? You need to raise other people's need. This is the law of compensation. You raise other people's awareness of their need. You raise your own ability. And then I'm going to teach you the last thing in a moment. But here, I love this one. Be the part before you get the part. Ouch. Be the part before you get the part. Why do you need a title? Seriously, why do you need a title? You might say, well, Kary, I just so wish I was an author. Okay, have you ever written a grocery list? Anybody? Seriously, has anybody here ever written a grocery list? Okay, you're an author, all right? So get over it. So now finish your book, okay? Right? Oh, I wish I could be a speaker. Did you ever yell at your kid? Okay, you're a speaker, all right? You see where I'm going with this? Right? All right. Be the part before you get the part. Internal commitment before external validation. Internal commitment before external validation. Everybody wants the external validation, right? All right, next one. Focus on changing yourself, not on changing the world. In the end, you'll do both. Focus on changing yourself. What did David say? David said, I realized I was scared that I was going to blow up your blog. Now the guy teaches me. I'm like, okay, what do we got for that? He's got to do tutorials. Okay, Kary, you see that button? That's what you do now, right? I mean, he's surpassed me, and it's fantastic. But you have to increase your ability. All right, I love this one. Let them laugh. It's fuel for the fire inside you. Let them laugh. It's fuel for the fire inside you. No joke, I had people, when I told them I was leaving the pastorate, besides thinking, okay, who did he sleep with? What money did he steal? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I know what they were thinking, right? But they said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm not exactly sure. And they're like, what? But just let it be your fuel. Whenever someone tells me that I can't do something, what do I say inside? Watch me. I don't tell them, I'm not like, watch me, right? But inside I just think, watch me, right? All right, let's keep going here. You ever see this quote by Gandhi? First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win. Pretty cool? And I'm not saying, oh, we all have lists of dozens and dozens of haters. It's probably that one teacher who loved you 99% of the time, but said one thing when you were very impressionable, like, what is this? You could never, what's your problem? And that's what you latched onto. And the enemy's been using it for years. Saying, see, I still have people in my head, from 20 years ago that I use as fuel, not like, ooh, I'm thinking about them all the time, but just as like, just in the background, right? Just enough. Here's the change. Here's the change. And the change was dramatic for me, okay? And the change is dramatic for you. I'm going to share people from our tribe here in a moment about people who I'm their fan, who are my clients who've made dramatic changes. But irreplaceability. Folks, listen. If you have the same exact product as everybody else, now you're at a price war, right? If you can produce this and they can produce the exact same thing, then the question is, who's cheaper? You need to become irreplaceable. And you might say, well, Kary, how? How does my business become irreplaceable? Allow access to you. So, Susan just said she's a health coach. If she's a health coach and there's 50,000 other health coaches, offer something that no one else does. Offer a Friday morning fellowship or something. Add something where you've just outdone them with service. You see that? Offer an irresistible guarantee. In fact, David's going to share in a moment about how that's his session at the conference. David's all about creating irresistible offers, okay, with stacking of bonuses. There's so many ways you can slice this, but you need to become irreplaceable. Let me say this again. You attract who you are. If you are not happy with the people that you're attracting, change yourself. This is not law of attraction, mumbo jumbo. I'm just saying, you know what? What happened? We're in Buckeye country. I know not everyone's a fan here, but most are. What happened when Luke Fickell was the Buckeye coach for that season or half a season? What happened? Not much. Not much. Not much happened. Is there any money in college football? Is there any people who sign with certain schools based on the coach? So now you have Luke Fickell, great guy here, whatever. He wasn't ready to be coach. But now everyone's looking around each other at the team saying, is this going to be our head coach? And all those seniors who are getting offers from other places are saying, is this what I'm going to tie my boat to for the next 4 years? What'd they do? What did Ohio State do? Brought in Urban Meyer. You can take this illustration into any single thing. But what they did is they said, you know what? Who you are is who you attract. Who you are is who you attract. And if you're not happy with the people you're attracting, Igniting Souls Tribe, we attract the best people in the world. And I knew, and David knew, that to do that, we got to become the best versions of ourselves. And yes, it has everything to do with God, but I got to lay into this lady who posted on my Facebook wall yesterday, okay? Because I didn't respond yet. I haven't had time yet, but I'm just going to vent here for a moment. I said something about yourself, and she laid me, out and said, yourself is wicked, and yourself is bad, and God doesn't want us, blah, 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 blah. And I wanted to say to her, you know what, lady? The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. Think back to when I was cutting and carving cuss words in my body. Do you think I needed some self-improvement? Otherwise, I'm going to knife Chris. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? In other words, I think the whole of Scripture is a renewal of self to be the ultimate through Christ. You see what I'm saying? So again, not going preaching on you here, but my point is that you better focus on yourself. And not because of how great, good, and wonderful you are, but to raise your level. Okay? All right, here's a great chart. I got this from Michael Hyatt. I got to give him props, but here's the point. High profits, high maintenance. Many of you people have low maintenance, low profit clients. That's not the worst. That's not the worst. Low maintenance, low clients, low profit, that would be okay. What you don't want is low profit, high maintenance people. Let's be honest. Do some of you have them? Don't raise your hand. Okay? What about you online, right? Do you guys have any? Low profit, high maintenance people. That will kill you. That will kill your business. But some of you, you don't have a high enough self-esteem to say, I won't work with you. Some of us, let's be honest, we say, well, gee, you know, I should just take on all these types of people. And pretty soon you have zero ability and you burn out because you can't give to other people. What you want to move people from is low profit, high maintenance, right, to low profit, low maintenance, to high profit, high maintenance, to high profit, low maintenance. Look, I know people's businesses that have only attracted these people. Why? Because everyone self-selects out. Write this down, folks. This is important. Check this out. The more successful you become, the less accessible you are. The more successful you become, the less accessible you are. What am I saying by that? I'm saying that let the high maintenance people take your self-study courses. Right? I mean, we tell our people, anybody come in through the podcast, it's free. And if you're a content creator, you better give away 80% of your stuff for free. Because that's all attracting people. We have free podcasts, free blogs, free trainings. People self-select up. So who gets my time? What do you guys think?
I do.
The top clients get my time. Okay? And I'm with them all the time, right? But I'm not going to spend all my time with people that, you know what, are just high maintenance. Like, I can't believe my password's not working. And you're like, well, did you try to reset? No, you know, and just, you know, blowing up and creating, you know, oodles, right? You see what I'm saying? Is this true? You have, Joel's smiling, right? You have to attract high level people to you, right? All right, let's keep going here. This is good. Who do I need to become to attract the people I want to work with? Mike Kim planted that thought with me a few days ago, right? Who do I need to become to attract the people I want to work with? Ouch! That's your assignment for today. Seriously. That is your assignment. You write down, okay, I want to work with such and such client. By the way, have you guys enjoyed the Elixir Project trailer? Anybody? Day Job to Dream Job trailer, anybody? The guy who did that, his name is Chris Gio. You know Chris Gio. I was his youth pastor. All right, the kid, all he did was play video games. All right, now he's grown himself up. I just saw him in New York a few days ago. He said, Kary, when I came to New York 3 years ago, I walked past my ideal client, sent them a letter, and said, can I work with you? They said, no way. Guess what he's done over the next 3 years? Guess who's his clients now? Nickelodeon, Disney, MTV. I mean, you name it. He's got all these clients now who are high level because the last 3 years he said, I better become boom, 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 boom. If you're not clear on this, you're not going to win. Seriously, you should spend half a day on this question. Who do I need to become to attract the people I want to work with, clients and staff? Okay? True? All right. Seek to be valuable, not visible. Seek to be valuable, not visible. Another great point. Folks, when you walk around, I mean, you ooze value. You need to ooze value to people. Because then people say, this guy's valuable to me. This girl's valuable to me. I'm speaking business here. Of course you have value in God's eyes. I'm talking about, do you want to get paid? All right? You see the difference? I mean, don't go theological on me. Well, you know, don't we all have value? Yes, but why does one person make $20,000 an hour and one person is holding cardboard? Right? The guy holding cardboard isn't adding value to anybody. Now, well, you're judging him, Kary. Okay, well, we're talking about tripling your rates. The cardboard guy can't triple his rates. True? Right? All right, here we go. Selling is serving, marketing is storytelling. All right? As I add value to myself, I become more valuable. This is what David was saying. David added value to himself, and he became more valuable. Right? All right. Anything else you want to say on this point? Okay. All right, so here we go. I want to brag on some people. I love my clients. I love each of them. If I had time, I could literally brag on each one of you. I really could. You know, Rick's been a speaker on a cruise. I've never been a speaker on a cruise, all right? Like, my clients are surpassing me, and I love it. Seriously, I love it. You ever have a teacher, a guru, an expert who's jealous, right, of everyone's success? Do you want to be around that person? I celebrate. I tweet my clients, right, successes. I will be leading my first workshop based on my book in a few weeks. Karen Sweeney, love it. Love it. First step, love it. Okay, here's another one. Mary Valoni. For the past 3 years, I've been given an incredible opportunity to share with my sorority. Guess what? Now I'm part of the curriculum. Did you catch that? Mary's book is part of the required curriculum. Is this crazy? I mean, again, awesome. Cardiff Hall, this is 12 hours old. I wanted to share a big achievement in my podcasting strategy. I've been following a large podcast for some time. This is the exact strategy we teach. I've been promoting it all over social media for the last few months. A month ago, I emailed the host and asked if I could offer support on her book launch. Who does that? That's why he's an outlier. Listens to the podcast, promote. Oh, you need help for your book? I'll help you. Guess what happened? She responded to my email and asked for a time to connect. We connected on the phone, and then he slipped the request in, right? No. Guess what happened? I never asked to be a guest on the show. Toward the end, she says, I'd love for you to be a guest on my show, so we booked an interview, and now I have an opportunity. Folks, that is how it's done. Okay? Someone who, he said, I want to work with that lady. I'd love to be on her show, but instead he came serving and won her over. Okay? Brian's normally in the room. He's not in the room today. Brian's giving a TED Talk. I've never given a TED Talk. Look at Brian, right? I'm the one who got it published, right? I'm jealous now. No, I'm celebrating him. I was fortunate enough to be given a TED Talk last night. Awesome, right? I mean, I could go on and on. Here's Lisa. Lisa, some of you know Lisa. So humbled to be featured in this issue of a magazine. We published her. She's now in a magazine. I've never been in a magazine with my family. Boom, look at Lisa, right? I love it. I love it. Lori, way back at the beginning of this journey, I remember Kary saying something about imagining a letter of thanks. This is cool, guys, that someone sent us as a result of our book for making a difference. Well, can I just say that the real thing is better than I imagined? This makes stepping out of my comfort zone and not quitting so much worth it. To those still in the process, don't give up, keep going, you won't regret it. So I have all my authors write a fictitious letter, right? I call it fictitious letter, imaginary impact. And I have them write a letter, because right now they're stuck. They're like, oh, this is tough. It's so tough to write a book. I can't do it. I'm never going to get through it. And I have them write a fake letter that says, Dear Lori, you don't know me, but I read your book and it changed my life. And she wrote the letter. Guess what had happened? Okay? All right? Tony's launching his book on Monday night. Boom. Giving value, at a pre-launch, making it happen. Here's Derek. Derek's been a speaker all over the country for his book that we helped publish called Shift. And again, here's just all the people that he's impacting. I love it. And then Jim. We started with Jim, we'll end with Jim. But Jim is all the time. I mean, Jim's the guy who just recently, walked out of a session, and the guy comes up to him and says, "Here, let's do a 5-figure deal. I want you to come to my company." Folks, this happens. Okay, but again, it's all about need. Because if people haven't bought, start there. If people haven't bought, they probably don't know their own need, right? Susan, let's just talk about weight for a moment. If you just say, look, you need to lose weight, that's not helpful, right? Right? But you need to raise awareness. You need to raise awareness, like what is the weight blocking them from? Is it blocking them from, You know, walking up the stairs without getting out of breath? Is it blocking them from throwing the ball with their kid, from walking their daughter down the aisle, from running with their dog, you know, and playing, whatever? As I add value to myself, I become more valuable, all right? So I'm going to do a couple seconds, minutes, let's do minutes, a couple minutes of Q&A if anybody has any. Then I'm going to give you guys the most direct step that I know on how to raise your value, and I think you're going to love it, okay? So anyone have any questions so far about what I said, David said, and then I'm going to give you guys just a deep dive into the most practical thing I know to raise your value. Yes?
Yes, so the situation is I have a client.
I'll tell you what, come up, just because we're on a virtual audience. Come on over here, because we love these people. How's it going, by the way, with the virtual crowd? They having fun?
Okay.
Where are they from? Anybody from any? This guy's tall. Look at this. Holy cow.
Arizona.
UK, Arizona, awesome. All right, so what's your name?
Yes, Joshua Lexek.
Fantastic. And what's your question?
Yes, my question is doing work with a client once, and the results are just so phenomenal. The return on investment they get every single month is sky high.
Yeah.
They come back for another project.
Yeah.
How do you then raise your rate so that they're actually paying for what they're getting, and you're not working for pennies, and they're making $100 bills?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. So you're online, so they can see you now, which is great. No, I'm kidding. But here's the point. If Josh's time is full, if Josh's rates are so low that his time is full, and we've all had this happen. We started with a client a few years ago, and we've grown. And you are now bringing other people to you. You're a different person than you were 3 years ago. So first of all, charge new people what you're worth. Okay, that's the first step. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, good. All right? Start charging people, the next new person, what you're worth. Then you go back to the other people in full transparency and you say, you know what? I have loved working with you the past 3 years. And in fact, you're one of my premier clients. But the truth is that I've invested a lot over the years in growing my skills and abilities. And I have people coming to me now that are not at the rate we started at, but they're at, you know, triple or whatever. I'm taking on these clients, and I don't have the time anymore. And again, if you have a family, say, you know what, I need to be building this business and still being a dad or a friend or whatever you are, okay? And say, you know what, I love to renegotiate where we're at because I love to keep you, and then just leave it at that. Don't even give them an ultimatum. If you are truly valuable for them, they might do one of a few things. They might say, you know what, awesome, we've been waiting for you to tell us this. It's about time. Or they might say, you know what, we can't do 3, but we could do 2 and maybe cut back a few hours. Is that fair? Okay? Let them deal with the reality. Don't give them all these options because you might undersell yourself. But trust me, if you are truly bringing value for pennies on the dollar and you are charging other people your rate with 100% ethics and integrity, you can say, look, my rates have changed since we first started this arrangement. But you should never have a permanent, endless contract with clients anyway. I like always re-upping because it gives you an out, it gives them an out, you know. And if you're really nervous about that, tell them this is what's going to happen next quarter. Say, you know, I know you are in a budget situation, so I want to give you the ample time to plan ahead, but this is what needs to happen starting the next quarter. And I'd like to know, you know, 60 days before what your process is. Cool?
All right, thanks.
All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, anybody else? Questions, comments, thoughts? Yes, Joel, come on up.
I think it's part of it's more of a comment.
Yeah.
With that, you know,
Yeah.
sorry. But I think with that, it takes time to build that strong core that you talk about a lot.
Yeah,
And-
we had this talk.
Oh yeah, and it's scary, but like you just said, it's giving you an out and giving them an out is very freeing. And you need to be okay with that.
Yep.
That abundance mindset versus that victim mindset.
And let's face it, I remember having this chat with you earlier on in your career, and I remember you telling me like, hey, Kary, I just quoted a guy what I think I'm worth. And I was thinking, like, as his coach, like, are you sure you wanted to do that, Joel? You know, like, I was kind of nervous for you. But listen.
Really?
Well, maybe. But listen, he said it. I'm glad he stuck with his guns, because here's the point. You're never going to grow. You're always going to be paid your fee that you've quoted them for 3 years, and you're going to keep growing. And here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen? I'll let you fill in the blank. What's going to happen to Josh when he's working on that client's project if he's not getting what he's paid for?
He's going to hate them.
He's going to hate them. Can you do your best work when you're hating somebody? Right?
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
No, you can't do your best work when you're hating someone, and it's not fair. And now you're becoming a bad service provider because you didn't have the guts to confront them, right? Because trust me, that subconscious is playing the whole time. Well, gee, you know, they should pay my rates. You never asked them. Yeah, okay? All right, so I'm going to give you guys, you ready for the most direct path that I know? Okay? Why? Because I just shared this whole lesson with you. I know this, okay? I know this. You saw my transformation. You saw David's transformation. David and I did not create this event just to say, you know what? What's your October look like? I don't know. Let's just, you know, I'm bored. Let's do something. David and I have literally designed the best conference that we are capable of designing. So for the next, for the last 12 months, we've met on this so many times, and we've basically picked the exact conference and event that you need to come to. If you're in the room and you can make it happen, you have no excuse. Because we have people booking flights from Israel, Australia, New Zealand, the UK. I mean, it's crazy, right? So you live in Hilliard. You live in, Dublin, okay? But here's my point, virtual audience as well. I want to give you guys a secret formula. Whether you come or not, here's the secret formula, okay? About how to set fire to your business and brand. Like I said, you got to give away a bunch, right? You ready for it? All right, here we go. This is a strategy. David and I use this strategy. Some of you are at this first step. This is how you set fire to your business and brand. Number one, you feel the fire, right? What does feeling the fire do? I'll show you in a moment. Number two, you see the fire. And number three, you be the fire. I'm going to break this down for each one of you. What does it mean to feel the fire? What does it mean to see the fire? What does it mean to be the fire? This is where tripling your rates is, okay? You gotta get clarity on this. Otherwise, well, what do you offer? So many times I meet people and I say, hey, if I had a pile of cash and said, I want to work with you, here it is, what am I getting? And they're like, well, I don't know what you're getting. I would meet with you. Meet with you, right? So does a dentist, right? So you gotta get clear. So number one, here's what feel the fire means. Feel the fire is that in the very beginning of the entrepreneur's journey, the author's journey, the speaker's journey, here's what you do. You only feel the heat from your own fiery trial. All right, there's a building at 23 and 270. 23 and 270. It's a big 6-story building. Every time I drive by there, I remember how bad I failed. This is true story. True story. I was a pastor. I knew I had to replace my income. David, come up. We didn't even tell the Panera story. Got to tell the Panera story, right? Some of you are like, what's the Panera story, right? He never finished it. That happens for me in my head. But here we go. The Panera story. So here I am, a pastor. I'm basically knowing my options are either to take over the church as the head pastor in 10 years. That's what they told me. Or to go on my own. Because to say, well, I don't want to take over the church in 10 years, but I'll just sit here and collect a paycheck, that wasn't okay for me, ethically. So I was either going to go here or go here. And we sat at Panera, and I don't know anything about numbers. I hate numbers. I love people. David loves people and numbers. But David said to me, like, how much I needed to make to replace my income. And did I become pale and vomit right there?
There was no vomiting.
Yeah.
There was some pale coming.
Yeah, because I'm like, are you serious? At that time I think Joel was my client. All right, that's it. And Joel is a good guy and makes a lot, but he can't make, So I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And then he turns to me and says, and you'll have to pay me too. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? I mean, it was a big climb, right?
Yeah, I mean, you were seeing the downside at that moment.
And I exactly. It's a nice way to say it. All I did was see the numbers and say, probably swear words in my head, right? But you saw, like, we can do this.
Well, I believed that it was going to and needed to happen because I knew who you were.
Yeah.
And I knew that God gave you the secret name of free.
Yeah.
And God had opened the door. And I'm sitting there watching you going, the bird has the cage door open, but now the bird doesn't want to fly out of the cage. And I'm sitting there going, this is where we have to go. I get it.
Right.
I don't want to take away the validity of what he's feeling because it's real. I get it. He has kids. He has a house. He has a family. These are real things.
Health insurance, that was a big thing.
Everything.
Health insurance.
But I'm also sitting there going, this is who you are.
Right.
And this is what you need to be.
And folks, I had the talks with God. Well, God, if you just drop down the money, I'll go. I'll go. It's your fault. Then you start blaming God. Well, it's your fault, But the point is, guys, that I could only do what I loved so much as a part-time hobby. You see what I'm saying? This is why I want economical freedom for you guys. This is why I want you to turn your passion into a full-time gig. Because I know what you're capable of. If you didn't have to be like, well, here's my 1 hour this week I get to spend on my passion. You see what I'm saying? Does it make sense? All right, I'll bring you up here in a second again. But let me talk about this. In the beginning, all you feel is the fire. All you see is your own heat, right? But your breakthrough is just on the other side of awareness. When you remember, as Marcus Aurelius says, I love this quote, the obstacle is the way. Folks, that is a Stoic principle from the first century, is that the obstacle is the way. The thing that you're struggling with right now is actually what's going to set you free. But you need to become somebody different in order to conquer it. That's what the rub is. That's what you're bumping up against. True? All right. Next, you see the fire. Suddenly you say, you know what? Wow. As I look out, I'm not the only one. There's all kinds of people that are struggling with what I struggled with, and you know what? My former pain is going to become their future cure. You like that? My former pain is going to become their future cure. With courage and clarity, we do deep work so we can create deep impact. Ready for the last one? No, you got it. You want that? Okay. So you can take a picture. So it's what? Feel the fire. All you feel is like, oh crud, Then you see the fire. You see it. Fire's neutral. Fire can heat a house. Fire can burn down a village. Right? It's the same. This is you. This is you and me as well. We can create life for people, or we can bring death. And the point is that fire is a tool. It's how you use it. In the beginning, fire is a negative, but soon it becomes this positive thing that fuels you to be the fire by leveraging your hurts. Hurts could be, I can't figure it out. Hurts could be, you know what? I have a prodigal son or daughter. Whatever the hurt is, that becomes the helpful framework. Folks, write down the word framework. This is where the money is. Framework means simple steps to solve a problem. Glenn's in the back. Glenn's a counselor. Glenn's awesome. If he has a helpful framework that says, here's 4 keys to boom, 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 people pay for that. Oh, I just heard this recent quote. I love it. Do you know that Pop-Tarts increase sales 6 times when they put a framework on the back of the package? You ready for the framework? You ready? This is so stupid. Ready? Open. Number 2, microwave. Number 3, eat. Okay? I'm serious. Is this not nuts? All right? Open, microwave, eat. 6 times the sales increase. Why? Because people, I guess, Need to know how to make a Pop-Tart, right? But it's called a framework. This is why they have those explanations on keys at a hotel. Insert here. Pull down lever. Push. Okay? I guess because people are drunk when they open their hotel room. I don't know. You're going to say something, Laura.
Is it because people aren't thinking?
Listen,
People are not.
when you are in panic mode, when you are stuck, you don't think clearly. And why do they need to say like a life preserver? Lift, throw, pull, because you're in panic mode and you just need clear instructions. And people in panic mode need what you have to offer, right? Through serving and storytelling, people embrace the solution and experience success. As we show up, filled up, we set fire to our business and brand. Cool? Cool? Everybody got it? All right, so here we go. This is what David and I have invested so much time, so much energy into. It's to bring you guys skills. Each one of these speakers is a skill-based strategic invite to raise your value. Literally, Dexter is going to teach you how from the stage to motivate people to action. You think you're ever going to speak, right, Susan? You might not have thought so. You got the call. You got the invite. Dexter is an amazing speaker. He goes all over the world. He is going to teach you how to motivate people to action. Amy Schmidauer. Folks, Amy Schmidauer. Tony Robbins calls. Hey, Amy, can you come and teach vlogging to my business mastery class? Sure, Tone. I'll be over there, right? I mean, she's coming to here. She's coming to us. All right? I don't know if I can get her next year, right? In other words, she's coming and she's going to teach you how to take that little device that scares the death out of us when we're shooting ourselves with it. It's called a camera, and how you can leverage vlogging for any business, anything. Brian Dixon, literally in his session, you will learn how to create 4 products that very day. 4 products how to create in his session, and he does it all the time. I just hung with him in New York. Joel's using Brian, to create something. Boom. Mike Kim, his rate is 20 grand for 2 days to work with your business. He's coming and he's going to teach us how you have a brand called you. You are your brand, and you need to leverage your brand. I'm going to be teaching how the most powerful brands in the world have what's called a creation story. And just like I shared, did you catch my creation story today? Shared it all the time. Anytime I speak, I share my creation story about where I started. You can weave it in. I'm going to teach you tactics and tools to weave it in to what you present. David, come on up. David's going to talk about the irresistible offer. And tell us, I'm going to go into detail in a moment, but tell us why is an irresistible offer important?
Well, one of the biggest things we want to help, and this is what we get so excited about, is seeing all of these people that we work with taking steps and moving forward, and they're writing books. They're starting businesses, they're creating programs and courses, and all these things. The ripple effect is helping so many people in so many ways, but we also have to kind of keep helping them get to that next level so that it can not just be part-time, but they can really be going after it full-time, because there's a big difference. When you're doing this and you're earning enough and you're getting enough action and activity that you're full-time, it's a different game than when you're just doing it a little on the side. So one of the things that we're really trying to do, and what you really have to be able to do, is to learn how to create an offer that's so good that people are just going to want it no matter what. It's just like dumb not to buy it, okay? And that's one of the things that I think some people aren't quite getting all their hands around yet, because they're not completely understanding. They're making offers that sound a lot like someone else's offer, and they're just repeating what you think you can get there. And there's a few core principles. One is that you have to really understand the problem that you're trying to serve. Okay, you got to really understand what is it that what you're doing is really going to serve and help people. How is it really going to address that need? So you got to understand that very well. 2, you got to be completely not making it about you. Okay, everything that you're doing has to be not about you. I mean, we're going car shopping right now because we're looking to replace a car. I cannot tell you this stark difference that I have in the people that I'm going to see at these car dealerships. And it always comes down to one thing. The salesperson is either there serving us and helping us make a decision and walking us through, answering our questions and making it about us and our situation of what we're trying to figure out what our decision is going to be, or they're making it all about them. And they're calling us and they're texting us and they're da-da-da. I mean, I will not buy a car from them ever. I'll go to Cleveland and buy the same car that I could have bought from them just to avoid them, okay? Because they had it flipped. They made that process all about them, and that is so pressure relieving. Because I don't have to sell you, I have to serve you. I have to help you. So I got to understand, I got to help you understand exactly where you are and all the stuff that Kary's been talking about. Some people are completely unaware of anything that's wrong in their life. They're just problem aware. Then you have people that there's unaware, then there's problem aware. Like people are saying, like, I have a bad relationship with my spouse. Well, then you go to their home and you see the guy's yelling at his wife all day and you're going, I think I have an idea what's wrong. He may not grasp even that what he's doing is causing the strife. So you go from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to you aware. And you take them wherever they are in that journey, and then once you serve them, understanding where they are, you just stack value upon value upon value of all the tools, resources, services, products, anything that you can provide to them in a reasonable way. You know, don't show up to mow their yard every week. That's going to be a lot of extra work. But when you're adding value, 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 and then you look at them and go, I can help you, and no matter what, I know I can solve your problems. I've added so much value, and then the last element you have to have is certainty. You have to be 100% sold yourself that you know how to help them, that you can solve the problem. Because if there's a 5% doubt inside of you that I think I can help you, you lost it.
Cool. Awesome. Boom. Thanks. All right. Dean is going to be speaking on how to overcome your adversaries, because we all have them. And mainly it's us looking at ourselves in the mirror. We're our biggest adversary. So again, each session is absolutely strategically, even chronologically laid out. So the person that you're going to get first is me with Creation Story. Then you're going to move into Mike because you need to know what your brand is. Then you'll move to Brian with the product. So even the way that we design the 2 days is intentional, so that even if you come in like totally clueless, I don't even know what my brand is, I don't even know what I'm offering, I don't even know what my services are, you will find it as a result. Again, I don't have time to go through all of them, but let me just say that the sticky brands have a creation story. They do. Recently I've been using my phone, and as I've been in the store, I've seen like on the back of a bag of peaches, literally, I have this picture, and I snapped a picture and it says, our story. Okay, so brands today have a story. You ever pick up like a soda or a bag of chips or something? The good ones share their story. I can give you Walt Disney's story. I can give you Sarah Blakely of Spank's story. We know this, the Steve Jobs story. All the brands that we remember have a creation story. If you don't, you're missing out. All right? Mike is gonna talk about how to write, and not only brand yourself, but how to write sales copy that sells like wildfire. Okay? There's a reason why when I send out an email, it doesn't have all caps in the subject line. All right? There's all these things that you're like, whoa, why? Because most of the time, like subject lines are 80% of the problem with emails. All right? We're going to give you guys all these advanced tips that will actually create ROI, return on investment, the moment you leave. So this isn't like, oh, here's a trick that worked in the 70s. I mean, this actually happens. And it's not tricky stuff, it's stuff that works, but if you don't know it, you're not playing a fair game. No wonder why you're not having success. Again, Brian's going to teach how to create your first product. Brian's been hired by some of the biggest brands in our space to help them think through product development. And like I said, you will have created 4 in his session, all right? David talked about how to create an irresistible offer. Everything that we do has an offer tied to it, and there's certain principles and markers that we use in order to make that happen. Dean, fantastic guy. This is our spiritual session, okay? Everything's spiritual, but Dean's gonna just like hit us right at the heart, right? And then the next day, I'm gonna actually talk about, with real case studies, real students like 3 years ago who were just like you. Maybe some of you are in the room, you're going to be on stage, but how to earn income with your book, brand, or business. So we're going to give you that framework as well. Dexter is talking about igniting your audience to action. Folks, I know some of my colleagues, that's all they do. All they do is they speak, have an offer on stage, David's principles, and then ignite their audience to action. Again, Amy, how to vlog like a boss. She's still a #1 bestseller. Her book came out in January. Some of you know of her. If you know of her, give me a head nod, okay? She's fantastic, all right? She's a skill-based person who's going to teach you a skill that's worth the price of admission just for being there, all right? And then lastly, David and I are going to talk about how to set fire to your business and brand. I hate events that are all hype, that are all motivation, that are like, hey, you know, turn to the person next to you and give them a back rub and dance in the aisle. Yeah, there are some conferences like that. We're not like that, okay? No one's rubbing backs. And instead, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a plan so that for next year, you're actually implementing a strategy, all right? So, no joke. Someone just asked the other day, this is the reality. We are 98% full. 98% full, which means we just have a few seats left, and we have a price increase tonight. So I'm going to ask Erica to put down the link. Folks in the room, we can literally, register you here. It includes 4 meals as well. So this is a Saturday and a Sunday, and it includes 4 meals. It includes the course materials, and here's the promise I've made. All right. Sometimes I don't get clearance with David. I forget if I got clearance with this one, but I'll eat the cost. All right, if he's not for it. Here's what I'm so convinced of. If on Saturday, the first day, by 5 p.m., if you have not gotten 10 times your investment, okay? Right now it's 437. So it's 437. If you've not gotten 10x your investment, no problem. Pretend this is your manual. You come up to me, you say, hey, Kary, this wasn't for me. And I'll say, no worries, friends. We'll shake hands. You'll turn in your course materials. I'll write you a check for $437 and say, hope you enjoy the meals on us and the day. Okay? That's it. Like, who does that? Who does that for a conference unless they really are 100% certain? Do I have your clearance? All right, cool. So David will pay half, and I will pay half. And that's how much we believe in the program. Seriously. So by 5 p.m., literally by 5 p.m., if you do not have 10x your investment, some of the best people on the planet, we've had people go into speaking gigs together, collaborate with businesses. It is awesome, okay? And then lastly, again, tons of people come. Many of you are in those pictures. It's fantastic. People say all the time, why don't you do two or three of these a year? It is crazy to put on your own conference with hundreds and hundreds of people. It is. So that's why. So if you can't make it, you missed it, right? We don't record it to sell it. Okay, you can't be like, well, I'll just get the DVDs. No, you won't, right? And every course is different. Every conference is different. This is not the same as last year, and it's never going to be like it again. So set fire to your business and brand. Last thing I'll say, and then I end right on time. Folks, this is something David and I are rolling out on Monday, okay? It's free. So on Monday, it's free. It's called KaryOberbrunner.com/challenge. It's a 6-figure author challenge, okay? We're going to basically create a private Facebook group for just this event, and I'm going to be in there every day, twice a day during the challenge, giving, advanced tactics, tools. Even if you're like, Kary, I don't even have a 1 word written from my book. I don't even know if I want to be an author. We're giving just here, just now, a special link where you can be first to know. So KaryOberbrunner.com/challenge. First to know. You'll be the first people in on Monday. It's free. It's just a value add for you guys, but it's a 6-figure author 5-day challenge. I have 2 minutes left, and I'm going to stick around. David's going to stick around. We're going to add value to you guys. If you have any questions that you need, we'll do that, as well as register today. We have forms today in the room if you want to register, because we gave the link online, but we have forms right here, right now, and we can take care of that and get you registered and claim one of the remaining seats, okay? So I had a blast today. My name's Kary. This is David. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming, guys. We'll see you next month, all right?